it's great that you had someone to go back to help give you
Mm-hmm.
that reassurance that the decision that you made was right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's kind of the drawback to being young and naive is that, like Olivia mentioned, a lot of these girls who are getting into the sex industry, whether it be porn or prostitution or even just, posting nudes online and doing OnlyFans, is that, like she mentioned, they come from homes that are not necessarily broken, but just don't have guidance, or there's abuse going on, or there's chaos inside of the home. I know for me, a lot of people always ask me, oh, you did porn. You must have been raped growing up, or you must have had sexual abuse. It wasn't like that at all for me personally. I don't know if this is what caused it, but I've shared this before on the podcast that growing up, my parents were divorced. My sister has severe schizophrenia. And I think where I first started idealizing porn stars and girls like Anna Nicole Smith and Playboy was when my sister was going through her schizophrenic episodes. There was her cutting herself in front of me. One time I came home from school and she had hung herself, and I had to cut her down from our swing set when I was in elementary school. And I remember going through those experiences. And one time I found online the girls next door of Playboy, and I just was like, wow, their life looks so amazing. And
Just
you can
simple.
just hit up like this old man and he'll fly you out to LA. I could get away from all of this and my life would be so incredible like theirs. They have all this cute clothes. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I remember just wanting to escape from the situation that I had going on at home, and I would just hide in a closet or in my room and watch that and just fantasize about being 18 and going and doing that. But the danger in it is of the sex industry and porn being glamorized is that young girls like me are going to see all the positives and they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to see the negatives.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it really shows how naive I was, because when I first got into porn, I had no idea that I was going to have to suck dick or have sex, which sounds so weird because you know that you're going to suck dick or have sex, but it didn't register, it didn't process. I really didn't think about the acts that I was going to have to do
Mm-hmm.
to become a
Yeah. Well, you
porn
think of
star.
consequences either because you just thought of the glamour of it, like you
Yeah,
said.
yeah, it was all glamorized in my head. It was all, oh, I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that, but it was never, I have to do this to
Mm-hmm.
get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's hard for the young mind to see that. And then there's also the issue of being young and naive and not knowing how to say no in certain situations. And luckily, you,
Mm-hmm.
speaking back on your experiences, you clearly were raised right, or had the confidence to say no, and you had someone to go back on to help reassure you that you made the right decisions.
Yeah, because as well as you, I grew up watching Girls Next Door. I loved
Mm-hmm.
Playboy. Growing up my whole life, I was like, I want to be a Playboy model. I want to do this. I was obsessed with it, just like you. I
Yeah.
was in Indiana and sitting there bored, nothing going on, and I would watch these hot girls on TV, like the blonde, beautiful, the mansion, a pool, party,
Yeah.
whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
And I was so obsessed. That's all I said to everyone every day. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be in Playboy. But the older that I got, and my dad actually lived in Vegas, and we would travel out here, and I got more experience like in their life and in their world, and I got to see how it was.
Yeah.
So luckily for me, I did get to see kind of like both sides in a way that kept me from, before I turned 18, I was like, I actually don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. And what deterred you from those situations where you wanted to get a modeling job and it was told to you, oh, if you sleep with someone or you do this sexual act, you'll be more likely to obtain it? What deterred you from giving into those situations?
I don't know if it was one specific thing. I think I just knew it was wrong. Because my mom always would tell me, like, your body is for you. Like, don't let someone try to convince you that you have to do specific things unless it's what you want to do. If someone has to tell you, oh, you have to sleep with me if you want this, my mom would always, remind me that I do not have to do those things.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it. And obviously my dad was the same boat.
Did your mom ever have any background in like the sex industry or anything like that, or like experience? Because it seems, like she must have had some sort of experience going through something growing up that she would
Thinking
instill
that
that in you as like a young girl.
I mean, she obviously hasn't opened up to me fully like that, but I do know she did do modeling at a young age, and
so
then
she could have had those pressures that you were speaking of.
Moved to Vegas in California and lived in Hollywood with my dad. He was a professional boxer, and when they were together, it was like the highlight of his career. He was world champion, and so she was around these celebrities and around that lifestyle. So luckily she was married and had my dad, but I think she got to see how women were treated and how girls were treated and wanted to keep me away from it.
Yeah.
So I think that would probably be why.
An interesting statistic that Alexa shared with me this morning. Do you want to tell them? Because I know you did the research, so I don't want to take your...
No, so I was researching because someone actually brought to my attention that a lot of porn stars die from like drug overdose, accidental or on purpose, suicide, whatnot. So I'm like, I wonder what the average like life expectancy, what is it? Yeah,
life expectancy
of a porn star is. And it's actually 37 years old. And that's like on average, obviously. A lot of them, if you look, die in their early 20s.
Yeah.
And then a normal person would live to be about 78 years old. So that just gives you an idea. It's like a 40-year gap.
You have to think, why is the average life of someone who was in the sex industry or shot pornography 37 versus, what did you say, 78?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. That's a huge jump. What do you think causes that? I definitely think a lot of these deaths are probably drug related, like you mentioned, or suicide.
I think even like sex trafficking, like I think that's an issue. I mean, with
homicide.
Any countries that or any country that's legalized prostitution, the sex trafficking rates are way higher. Which I mean, I feel like that's common sense, but it's also very sad, you know. And I think just aggression, abuse that comes with being in the porn industry that women go through, it's a lot of trauma for them. So as you had mentioned, I think turning to drug use and overdosing, you know, feeling extremely depressed and not wanting to continue like the life because you just don't know how to get out of it. And I think that's also very scary. And I'm sure you probably have been in those situations with a manager that you've had or an agent where you felt trapped and you couldn't get out of doing something you'd no longer want to do because you're finally capable enough of knowing that I don't like what I'm doing to my body, or I don't feel stable mentally, you know, physically, like this is not glamour. Like I want to do something else, and you don't know how to escape. So a lot of girls fear that. So,
well, that's, you know, why I wanted to do this podcast today and why I try to share my experiences, even though it's extremely difficult for me, because I do have girls who are still in the industry reach out and say, wow, you're an inspiration to me. You know, you are right where I am now. You don't have to do any of this to make money anymore. You support yourself, like you're doing great. So I think it's important for us to share this story to help, like you said, people who are still suffering, and also to help deter girls who are thinking about possibly putting themselves in that situation. One of the downfalls of the industry, as you mentioned, is agents, your manager. I've had quite a few bad experiences with agents and managers. Just, they're supposed to work for you and they tell you that they work for you, but a lot of the pressures in the industry and the manipulation comes directly from the agents. I remember being flown out to LA for the first time, and as soon as I came, it was almost like instant. Now that I'm thinking about it with a mature mind and being an adult woman, I feel like I was being groomed from the minute that I landed in LA. They ask you before you join the industry, what are you comfortable doing? And you check off a little list for your agent. Like, are you comfortable with blowjobs? Are you comfortable with boy-girl? Do you just want to do girl-girl? Will you do DPs? Will you do gangbangs? And so I remember only marking off, the first time I only marked off that I wanted to do girl-girl. The initial agent who I signed with wouldn't sign me if I was only doing girl-girl. So I was basically forced to do boy-girl.
Yeah.
I never checked off the boxes for doing DPs, gangbangs, any of that like drastic stuff. And I told my first agent, I will never do a gangbang. I will never do anal. I will never do any of that. And somehow, lo and behold, I end up doing all of it, because from the minute that I stepped off that plane and started talking to this man, he would say things like, oh, all the good sluts do gangbangs for cheap. The good sluts get fucked for $500. And they would really glamorize doing more for less money because that's what worked for them. So basically, in the porn industry, the agents don't care about the girls to a certain extent. They only care about pleasing the producers and the film companies, because then the film companies hire the girls from that specific agent more than the other ones. And that's what they care about, is having a good relationship with the production companies, the producers. So if the agent can get you to work for extremely cheap and do extreme acts, they're going to push you to do that. And these are 40, 50, 60-year-old men who have been working in this industry for 20 to 30 years. They know how to manipulate and twist up a young 18, 19, 20-year-old girl's mind to get her to do these things. And I've often said that the agents need to be completely eliminated if that industry is going to exist, because that's where I feel that I was pressured and put into situations that I didn't want to be in. I also have to say, and just take full responsibility here, I technically, in the situations that I'll talk about later in this episode, I never claim rape, I never claim any of that, because I technically never said no. Being young me, I felt like I wanted to please everyone. I felt like I wanted to make my agent happy. They told me I was going to be so good, I was going to be so great. I wanted to make the producers happy, I wanted to make the fans happy. I could be dying inside doing something, but I would have a smile on my face and say, thank you for the work, everyone. Like, I never said no. So no one is to blame for my experiences. I can't say that, and I'm not saying that. I never said no. So